All right, man, we are back. It's time to get it on with the biggest movie of the year, man. Highly anticipated Avatar movie. Never thought this movie would ever get made. Not even sure if we needed a second part of this movie. It's one of those movies that made all the money in the world years ago, and everybody was saw this movie all over the world and made more money than anything ever. And then we're gonna do a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and they said that like years ago, and then nothing. So I think it was okay to let it just sit. And suddenly we got Avatar 1, 2, and I think another one is.
And I think there's one slated for like 2028 or 25. There's more.
24, I think. It's not gonna come out next year. It's gonna come out the year after. So,
okay,
which is smart because a lot of these franchises that shoot the movie at once and release them every year, they don't make all the money that they normally can, because they just want to make all the money now, and then it backfires and people get tired of your shit really fast. Mm-hmm. So anyway, man, Matrix.
I think it has to be consistently good, and then you're good.
Well,
but here's the thing: we're going to talk about it.
I still think you can make a lot more money, like the Lord of the Rings. I think the Lord of the Rings would have made way more money if they would have staggered it a year.
Oh, sure.
Just every,
I don't know. I think people tend to forget. You're thinking in the way of a consumer of things that you like,
I'm saying a year. I'm saying consistently. Just skip that 1 year. Don't skip 2 years. I mean, don't do just the next year. Like, who did that? Way back in the day. The Time Machine movie, Marty McFly. They did, the second one.
Back to the Future.
One. Yeah, they did the very next year, and it's just like, dude, you ain't even get all your DVD sales out the way. You didn't get up, you just, and then I didn't care about the third movie, and I didn't care about the third Matrix, and I didn't care about the Return of the King. I saw it, but it's not my favorite. I know that's your favorite, but
it's not.
Anyway, I thought that was your favorite. Return.
I think it might be, but I didn't finish the book, so I might have not, but I might have liked the movie.
Got you. Back to this.
It's been a while. Yeah, back to the Avatar.
So, man, where are we at here? 2022, PG-13, 3 hours, 12 minutes. Action adventure fantasy. Jake Sully lives with his newfound family formed on an extraterrestrial moon. That word is hard for me to say. Pandora. Once a familiar threat returns to finish with they previously started, Jake must work with the Na'vi and an army of the Na'vi race to protect their home. Directed by James Cameron. Screenplay by James Cameron. I thought I was going to see more James Cameron. So who's the star, Tiff?
Okay, so the stars of this movie are Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver. Very briefly. In this one, I think she was more in the first one, right?
No, she was the character. She's the teenage daughter. She was in it the whole time.
She's not the teenage daughter.
She is the teenage daughter. That's her.
She's the teenage daughter and the adult? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, good for her.
Yeah, she was in it the whole time.
Going back. What the fuck? She did a really good job. I thought it was a child.
Yeah, that's what everybody was talking about. Was like, they kept interviewing her. How do you play a teenage girl and you like 70?
Yeah, my mind is blown. Because I didn't look at this shit. I don't want to watch Avatar. Because she's also in it as like her former self.
Yes.
So I was just like, oh, she's okay. So Stephen Lang.
Yeah, I like Stephen Lang, man. I like this kid.
Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So there's Kate Winslet playing that guy's wife, the Tonawari wife. Yeah. So
stuffy draws is what I call
it. Cliff Curtis. Joel David Moore.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of people who are like,
who reminds me of David Schwimmer so much, but anyway.
CCH Pounder.
Mm-hmm. She's still around.
Edie Falco.
Yeah, she was. I wasn't sure. I was like, is that Edie Falco's old ass?
It sure was Edie Falco. I love Edie Falco. Brendan Cowell.
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine Clement.
Yeah.
Of What We Do in the Shadows fame and Flight of the Conchords, etc. And then there's like Jack Champion, Trinity Jo Lee Bliss, Britton Dalton, Bailey Bass, and then the rest. Oh, shout out to underused Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah, well, he was in the first movie a lot. So.
Oh, well, good. What? Don't waste Giovanni Ribisi.
He was in the first one a lot. So, man, before we take it any further, it is time for one What? I've been waiting for this for 2 weeks. Tell one word. Here we go.
Corny.
Corny.
This movie, I guess, because we discussed this off mic.
Mm-hmm.
That I have not seen the first one, and I do not want to see the first one, and I will not see the first one. And having seen this one, I will not go back and watch the first one. This movie to me is just very cheesy.
Uh-huh.
Because it's a very simplistic plot, even though they try to make it seem like it's not, which is fine. But I will say that the reason I can't separate, there was like some things that happened that I'm just like, this is a fucking corny. If you were watching me watch the movie and I had a cornometer to like measure how corny I felt was happening on the screen, there was often like 8 out of 10 corns. I was just like, wow. But one thing that really stood out to me as particularly terrible, and I think probably maybe other people talk about this, is that they are cat people, for lack of a better term. And they hiss
like
a lot, but they don't use. It would have been almost better for me if they had created some kind of sound that was made from the real hissing of an animal that would sound like that, because instead what they did was have the humans go and it's presented as being like, obviously when you attack a cat, they're small, and the hissing is because that's their last resort. They're scared and they want to hiss at you, right? These people are gigantic.
And
in no way,
not to each other though.
Right. But they're hissing at each other with this kind of like, I'll intimidate you. And then nobody finds it intimidating, and yet it keeps happening.
All right. I think Tiff took that one way down the road.
But that was just no, there were many other corny things happening in this film. That was the one I thought people could most easily identify, since it happens about 30,000 times in the film.
Okay. All right. So
let's see what you have to say.
My one word is not that strong. My one word is nice. Pandora is a nice place to visit, man. I mean, James Cameron does a phenomenal job making this place like just look real as hell. I would love to like have a VR experience with this damn place, because it's just ridiculous. It's so beautiful. It's nice. The story was familiar with me with the Sullys, with the kids and stuff like that. And then they had to go on a run, which made no sense to me at the end of the movie.
It didn't.
Because it's like, they're gonna keep coming, man, no matter who. Why put these people in danger? We should have just.
I want to talk about that. We're gonna put a pin in that because it's very important. But I will agree with you, and I think the consensus has kind of been not that strong of a plot movie, but it's beautiful.
Here's my thing, though. I'm very patient with the plot, because I know I think they already made the second one, or are still making the third one. And I know that I think this plot is bigger than what's been introduced now. I think they spent a long time, probably too much time, getting you familiar with this family and what they were going through, and easing the plot. They started getting into it with the Sigourney Weaver character actually controlling the planet, the different things toward the end. And I said, it's something else bigger. This is not the plot. What's happening now? It's bigger than this. And so I know that he had wanted to do like Avatar 4 or 5. And so who knows where this thing is going. But Tiff, a new little thing I like to start doing on this show is throwing in the Rotten Tomato score for what we just gave our one word for. So Tiff, would you like to do the honors of the Avatar, The Way of Water, Rotten Tomatoes?
So it said the critic score was 77.
77. Went down a little bit.
Went down. I saw 80 something. Yeah. Well, I thought it was 80 something. And then 92% audience score.
10,000.
So the audience loves it.
10,000 people too verified that. So,
I mean, here's the thing. Good.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. So I already kind of let's hit the spoilers. I already kind of set it up with saying, that they started this thing, and the war comes back to the planet fast, and they got.
I think it's like a 15-year gap or something like that. You would assume, because the kids look to be about 16.
It takes 5 years for the ships to make it back. So they left. They went. So it takes 5 years. It's a 5-year journey from the planet. They tell you in the first one. So they left. And then they came back, and that's 10 years. And so maybe they took some time. So yeah, it looks like probably about 12 to 15 years.
15 years. And then it's and then it's a year after that. So yeah, maybe more like 10 years, and then or 15 years, because they have a lot of kids and they're older. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm assuming like 15 years. And then the beginning of the movie, and then it's 1 year later. So like 15 plus 1, which doesn't really matter, but
So the movie starts out with a lot of action, man. You know, like they're doing
Yeah.
all these raids and shit like that. And I'm like, I'm digging the posts. You know, I'm like, okay, it was a lot because there was a lot of action in the beginning. You know, with the raids that was happening, the boys kept messing. Well, the one boy kept messing up over and over and over and over. You know, I felt bad. I was like, God damn, why you got to mess up this bad? You know, but he just kept messing up. And you know, then the people from Earth, you know, they came down and they just like decimated like a continent, you know, with fire.
Yeah, when I watched that and they saw that, I had no scope for how obviously quite devastating, but I had no scope for the impact it would have. So maybe that's going to be covered in a later movie, because I can't imagine that wouldn't be incredibly impactful on that planet.
Well,
it's a moon.
It's a moon. It kind of bugged me because in the first movie, the whole thing was about this tree.
Stealthy.
No.
Yes.
The whole thing was about this tree.
Spirit tree.
No, mother tree, because they had a spirit.
But there's unobtainium under it.
They had unobtainium. They had a spirit place, and they had a mother tree. The majority of the movie was them whether they're going to destroy this mother tree, right? And they did, and it took a lot, and it was this big devastating thing. Well, when this fleet landed, it destroyed 17,000 mother trees. You know, it just like the whole forest was gone, because they showed you later on in the movie how it was all desert land where they were at, because they decimated every goddamn thing. And I was like, damn. So they kind of like they upped the ante, and I think they went too far. You know, what kind of spacecraft y'all got that can do that much damn destruction? You know, it's just like, god damn. So anyway, and the stuff would grow back. You wouldn't have a desert after that, you know, unless you was like spraying it with
would for a while. Takes a minute to grow back.
Well, think about volcanoes. They just decimate every goddamn thing. And the next couple rains, the shit is coming back, man, you know? So anyway, man. So they go on a run, Tiflbot. You know, let's take our kids. Let's go. I think it's a bad idea when they started running. I don't know how you felt about when they started running.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of things that happen in this movie are just bad mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
like everything. I mean, I guess that's the way life works, but.
Yeah. So he's trying to escape, and he's the big kahuna on the planet. Everybody know him, you know. And he takes off, and they arrive at these water people, and they didn't really want to deal with him. And I thought that was interesting, you know, because, you know, he was basically like, ain't no war here, don't bring it here, you know. So
yeah,
you know, that was interesting. But then they let him in. And this is where the movie takes a big lull, because
it's so long, you guys. And here's the thing, I get it. Here's my problem. Kind of where my problem centers in this movie, okay, is that really the plot is very basic.
It is.
Industry bad, Earth good. I agree with that message. Approved. But you could have told me that in 3 hours or less than 3 hours. More like 2 hours would have been fine. Now here's the thing.
Probably so.
So then what I'm saying is, so visually speaking, it's more about the visuals. People say, well, I'm like, but visuals do not a movie make. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it goes a little far, especially when the kids are discovering how to swim and all that stuff. Like they really go really hard with this shit is cool. Yeah, we're looking at it. You know, I saw it in 3D, and like the first Avatar, it is absolutely a movie that is made for 3D, and it's a better experience in 3D. I saw it in 3D, and it was gorgeous. But he did a science fiction mistake, which I'm really surprised with James Cameron, because he's never done it really before. Make that mistake of saying, look at my shit. Look at my shit. Look how cool this shit look. Look how cool this shit look. So yeah, the time, it could have been shaved down probably about
an hour.
I say about a good 40 minutes, 40 about 40 minutes for me would have been like,
yeah, like an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is that, like, I guess what I'm saying is, if what you've got as a movie is, like you're saying, mostly your movie is visual.
Yeah.
Okay. Then make it less plotty, because the plot is corny and distracts me from the pretty.
Well, I don't think the plot was bad. I just don't think it was complex.
Well, okay. So he goes, right. I guess I would say the plot is less corny than the things that they do, because they're all very surprised by the things that are happening on this planet, that, like, in reality you wouldn't be that surprised, because everything that happens on your planet is kind of like beautiful and whatever, right? But they're like, I didn't know this existed. I'm like, how?
Well,
How did Jake Sully know?
well, they get to the point where they got the whalers, and this is where the movie picks back up for me. Because
Yeah, so I liked that they had their little like their whale. Is that what do they call the connection? Like they
yeah,
connect to the whales with their
they
little.
connected everything.
I don't know what that is. It's
Yeah.
like their
It's
soul membrane. They meld like their souls, basically, right? I don't know how. Whatever. I don't know because I didn't watch the first one.
yeah.
And I thought that was cool, and like did have some emotional resonance later in the film.
Yeah.
But this is the part of the plot where I start to get upset.
About
And
what?
I will tell you this.
The whales and the
No, not the. I'm sorry. Like when they arrive at the water place, and I knew that was going to happen because it's the way of the water. But Jake Sully
yeah.
realizes that they're just after him, basically, for whatever reason. I don't know. Because they think he's the person who's leading them all onto war or whatever.
He's the key. I mean,
he was the one that he was the one that defeated them the first time. But I mean,
he's the Messiah of the planet. So it is crucial and essential that if you're going to take this planet, because in the first movie, it's only 5 times in the history of their memory has somebody been able to ride this big dragony like bird, and he was able to do it, and and it was prophesied that he would be the savior. So he is the leader. So if you're
only to the tree people,
to the planet. It's not just
so then why were the water people not wanting him there?
Well, that was one little tribe. So in the first movie they showed him going to many tribes, and they were all joining in the fight. So doesn't mean that these 25 people over there joined into the fight. They might not have known about it if they're remote. They were pretty remote. It took them a while to get there, and so they probably just didn't never get involved. But he heard of it, he knew who he was, but so
like why wouldn't he just turn himself over? Are you saying that the implication would be that if he were to die, it would be like the last offense would be over.
It'd be like shooting Dr. King,
in this situation.
Yeah. You would have the hearts and minds and souls of the people crushed, So if there's no winning if he turned himself in, because these people aren't going to stop for nothing. They don't give a damn if they blew up the whole planet, they just don't care. Yeah. And then,
but they don't want to blow up the whole planet because they want the resources.
No, they want more than the resources because they did it really.
They want to live on the planet.
They did it really subtly. Toward the end, they were saying, somebody mentioned that planet
Earth is dying,
no longer sustainable, and I was like, oh, they're about to bring everybody here and just gang rape this planet too. So that's worse. So, and it's already indigenous people who live here, as we have seen before. So I don't think the plot was. It wasn't complex, but I think that he just didn't unroll the whole thing, and I could be wrong.
But what is he saying in this movie?
I don't know.
That he didn't already say in the first one, and in which case, why does it exist? Why wouldn't you just skip to the next relevant part?
Well, the whole point, I think, well, not the whole point, but I think the major thing in this movie is the Sigourney Weaver character. I think whatever it is, she's got
finding out that she has the power because she has a special power.
Right. She's the new shit for whatever reason, and nobody even knows it. They still, talking about this warrior. I think, perhaps he's the warrior, and now they just delivered some heart. I don't know. You will see. But it was too long with the.
But I don't want to watch this movie and be like, well, this movie is okay because I assume that they're going to make a movie later that makes this one better. So this movie itself stinks a little bit, but is still visually appealing. Like this movie, here's the things that make me think a movie stinks. Unaware of itself and its length, you're fucking too long, and you're trying to make it. That pisses me off.
Means it can get too long sometimes.
The plot is fine, but it's not great.
The plot was
not great.
I agree.
So that's also okay. Mm-hmm. Again, taking all these things, they're fine. All of them are fine. What I don't like is all of them together, for one thing. Yeah. Nor do I like people being like, how can you not think it's the best thing you've ever seen? Because, bitch, it is not the best thing I've ever seen.
Well, who said that?
People, I guess I've never seen the first one, but I assume it's similar.
It's very mixed.
It's better? Is it better?
Yeah.
Than this one?
Yeah, I think it's.
But here's the thing: I have no desire.
Well, that's
And after this one, especially no desire.
Yeah, the first movie is definitely a better movie. I However, and it was something that you never seen before too. So, you know,
Sure, I'll give it that. But now we've seen 6 hours of it, supposedly.
goddamn.
And there's more hours to come, ladies and gentlemen. This movie, I was in there so long, my ass hurt.
Well, that did not happen with me, but it
Because
was.
we were in an old theater.
It was a little too much ooh and ah, and once they got to the water, you know, they could have cut out about 40 minutes of ooh and ah.
That being said, super excited for the Disney World ride that's going to open based on this movie.
I thought they're doing another one.
That's just my assumption, is that eventually it'll happen.
So, man, I'm interested. I'm going along for the ride.
Well, yeah. So at this point, we get to the kind of fighting.
Yeah.
Which is maybe the best part of the movie. I can't really tell because you do kind of feel, you feel like you rise up. You feel like, you know, you get that feeling in your chest that like the good people are going to win.
Son gets killed.
Sure does.
You know, the whales is destroying everything. That rogue whale saved the day. You know, so I liked all that shit, man. When all that stuff,
I did too.
Chaos was going on, the Jason Lane character getting his ass put on his ass, and then his son saved him.
I did think that
I get it why he saved him, because what's her name, Nefertiti, with some the wife, you know, she ain't like that little boy. She was gonna kill his ass, you know. And he saved her life. So I liked the part when he looked at it, he was like, damn, you know, because to save my life, I'm gonna save his life only because he saved mine, you know. And then he left him and he came on aboard and stuff. So I like that. I
did like that too. And then I will say that this part at the end, I mean, here's the thing, even I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying it's not that great.
Well, it's okay. I said it was nice. And then, but I do believe they should have got rid of some of the stuff, a lot of the ooh and ah, because we've been to Pandora before. Just because we haven't been in the water don't mean shit. And so, you know, anyway, so it's to be continued, man. You know, the daughter.
Yeah, I have to see the fucking rest of them now.
She's seen, you know, she saved the day, you know, because she's connected to the planet because she was born at the planet, transferred through the dying lady at the end of the movie. So it's interesting to me, and so I'm interested to see the next one. I'm not pumping my fist and saying this is the greatest and, you know, this is for everybody. It's not for fucking
it sort of feels like the reaction to it is, I remember the first one being really good.
Yeah.
And this one is okay. So it's kind of getting a free pass.
You know
what I mean? Like, did people watching this movie really like it 89% good?
I don't know about those folks. As far as I'm concerned, it felt like a middle movie to me and part of the journey. So I was fine with that.
Sure. So this might be in the future, we would be like, that's the weakest Avatar. Well, maybe that's the weakest Avatar movie out of the 6.
Maybe, who knows? Yeah, maybe.
Because like even if they were all 100% good to everybody, there would, well, not 100%. There would still be one that you thought was better than the others. And
this felt very transitional, trying to refamiliarize. 3 hours you don't need to refamiliarize, but yeah, to me it was like it was part of the puzzle. So it felt very unfinished as it was supposed to be unfinished. It was leading to the next part of the journey, which I believe is going to be more important than what we saw, you know, with them high-telling. So I'm not mad at the movie, but no, it's not 98%. If I was to give it a Rotten Tomatoes score, it'd probably be around 75, 76, something like that.
I'll be like 60, 65.
Okay. All right. Well, Tiff, we got it done. So
yeah, people are probably gonna be pissed at me this week, I guess. It's my turn.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I don't know if I've never met nobody who was a diehard I'll kill you over Avatar fan. You know?
I have the first one though.
Really?
People be like, why wouldn't you want to see it? Like, because I've never seen it. Like, and I'm like, they're like, oh, you should see it. And I'm like, I just don't want to. And they'll be like, why? Doesn't interest me. No interest.
Wow. I'm a little surprised with your science fiction background though. But anyway. So we came to do the damn thing. We got it done. We'll be back next week, man. We're gonna have some fun next week. We got a whole bunch of content we can do. So I can't wait to get involved in all that stuff. I'm the host of Fans of Patrol. My name is Montego. Thank you for spending your time with us and a pleasure of your time. With me is my darling Tiffobot. Say goodbye to these lovely people, Tiff.
It's been a pleasure as always.
And until next week, man, we will be
on patrol.